When are people going to wake up? When are they going to realize that the world was designed to keep them sick? That society was designed to keep them depressed and detached? These sanitary pads right here that women use every month, this is poison. It is full of hormone disruptors, and over time, women ask why infertility rates are increasing, not to mention birth control and its crazy side effects. This toothpaste right here, poison. Distilled water. It's been stripped of all its minerals and it's been fluorided. It's like there's no use. The shampoos, the deodorants, the body washes that are filled with parabens, aluminums, and sulfates, those are things that are absorbed by the body every day and are linked scientifically to cancer. And you know what they blame cancer on? The sun. The sun. The very thing that heals humans and keeps them alive. They then say, put sunscreen, when most drugstore bought sunscreen contains chemicals that are also linked to cancer and other issues. There's so many brands out there that are health conscious and environment conscious. So there is a way.
That TikTok stuck with me and I have not been able to stop thinking about it.
Before this episode starts, that is not a bold patch on my forehead. That is just my baby hairs going out of control. I don't know what is going on there. Frankly, when editing this, it's only in the first section. It was quite uncomfortable to see, but, you know, just had to put that in there. Let's get on with the episode.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I am great. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, your aura, your message is beautiful, and you're stunning as well. Beautiful. I'm so glad I came across your page.
And I'm glad you've came across my page and you've reached out. I'm just glad I met you. And like I said earlier in this conversation, I genuinely don't believe anything happens, by accident, and everything has a specific purpose. So I'm excited to see where this takes us and how it beautifully ripples, and just excited to be here.
Oh, you're so kind. Honestly, we were talking as well, even just before, the podcast started. And basically, you're a holistic coach, and my podcast is all about, self-improvement in every sense of the word, whether that's mentally, physically, your mindset, everything like that. So a couple of episodes ago, I had a life coach on as well, and she briefly touched on the subject about how, and I think you are a big advocate for this as well, is that we don't actually have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. You only go to healthcare when you're ill. We are not really taught about prevention. We're only taught about curing the symptom rather than the cause, right? Is what you're about. And recently I have been really into all of this, like, holistic and power of the mind and all this sort of stuff. So before we sort of start, I wanted to also say, sorry, just before we even start the beginning, there was the TikTok video that you posted that has been really stuck on my mind, was the one where you went, when are people going to wake up? And you were talking about even sanitary towels are, messing with our hormones. And that TikTok stuck with me and I have not been able to stop thinking about it. So I really wanted to talk to you today and, gain your insights, because I think what you're doing is beautiful, your message that you're spreading around. And, you're sort of channeling and pushing on the idea that people need to look after themselves and try and figure out the root cause of a disease rather than the symptom.
Yeah.
So before we sort of go into it, I want to ask you, you put up a TikTok video about how, you sort of used to deal with headaches and sinus problems and, that kind of stuff, chronic pain. But then you found holistic, is it called holistic medication?
Yes, it's the holistic health. Yeah, you could say holistic health, holistic coaching, just that industry of, holisticness.
Holisticness. So you found that lifestyle and you've become a Mind Valley, a holistic health coach. And you said that you no longer deal with those at all anymore. And obviously that's without medication. For people who don't know, holistic means naturally without any medication. So what was that transition period like? First of all, how did you find the holistic lifestyle? And then what exactly did you do to sort of cure all of that? I'm so curious.
Okay, this is going to be one deep story. This all started around the time of COVID. I'd say I've always been a sort of deep thinker. I've always been someone who looked inside, and just as a child, I was always different and I wouldn't really get along with much of the people around me just because I thought at a deeper surface, and I was like, okay, something is just not right. And at first, I'd say, of course, it was hard because, like I said, at that age, connection was hard, or understanding yourself was hard. And so I was sort of called or pushed into this phase where I had to really think of what is happening inside. What is this? And I've always felt like there was this calling telling me that, you're here for something bigger. There is something beautiful, and I've always believed in magic. Let's start there. Magic and miracles and this beautiful fairy tale. And I look at the world around us and I'm like, my goodness, adults have the capacity and the capability to do anything without permission, to do anything they want on their own, and they choose to live so mundanely. And that I really used to question that so much. And I was like, oh my God, when I'm an adult one day, I want to change this. I want to live outside the box. I want to live left, right, and center. And I want to be the change that, causes that ripple to see like life is beautiful. Get out there and live it. You're here for a specific purpose. Don't keep yourself in that box. With that said, I've always been into health as well. And taking care of yourself, self-help, whatever. And I've, at some point in my 13, 14s, whatever, got obsessed with this hot girl summer culture and like, lose weight, gain abs, all that kind of stuff. And so those two paths were really moving with me. And at some point during COVID, and this is where the peak of my story sort of hits, school became online. The world turned into a computer screen, and we were just, I don't know, I felt like, my goodness, a life can change in the blink of an eye. And what is anything worth in the first place? I was just, what is the meaning of reality truly? And so I just began to dig deeper and deeper, and I just got more in touch with myself. And I'm going to tell you, it was pretty hard. It was hard because, first of all, when society is functioning at a certain level and you're really out of that box and you're questioning that, you're on your own. You're like, okay, you have to find your own path because the path that is already carved doesn't make sense to you. So school became a depression for me. I couldn't attend classes because I would attend class for 8 hours a day, just to do 4 more hours or 5 more hours of homework. And I realized how much the educational system was not designed to teach people and was not designed to pump out successful people, rather successful employees. Because when I stopped attending classes for a certain period of time, I discovered so much about myself. I grew so much as a person, as a soul, as an individual. And I'm like, oh my God, no wonder people are depressed. No wonder people route to drugs. No wonder people route to smoking and, other things that's just to numb the pain, because they are not in touch with themselves and they don't know themselves. And I realized how much teenagers or children, since they were born, they were like, they don't have time to find out about themselves or what they want or what they're capable of. And so at some point I stumbled across Mind Valley, and I realized that there was an entire world out there that had similar perspective. Rather, it wasn't just a similar perspective because I was starting out, where there was an entire world that just resonated with me. And so somewhere along the lines, I grew in that industry and I decided to become a certified Mind Valley coach. And it was my dream. I didn't know that thing was possible, the certification and whatnot. I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. This is what I've been looking for this entire time. I want to help spread this light. I want to help spread this message and share with people that there's so much beauty out there. There's so much magic, and that they're more than capable of living it. So then I stumbled across the certification, and I'm like, great, I'm a coach now, and I get to do all these things, and I'm just beyond blessed. So that's my story into how I became a certified Mind Valley coach. And yeah, now I'm where I am today, starting this career, and I'm like, okay, the best way to gain reach and to spread this message through social media. We're blessed
Especially
to be living in a day.
TikTok.
Oh my goodness, yes. And we're so blessed to be living in a day and age where, you get access to all these things. Whereas, people in the old days would just have to stick to the educational system or stick to the books they're reading. But we have so much access at the tip of our fingers. And
100%.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I think I have learned more in these last 2 years through TikTok than I have throughout my entire school life. Literally.
Oh my goodness, seriously,
Isn't
really?
it? It's crazy. It's crazy. And also, do you know, I completely relate about the school thing. I completely relate about the school thing because basically, here we have primary school and secondary school. So secondary school is a bit more serious. You have the major exams and grades, all
Same
that stuff.
here.
Yeah. So like in primary school, it was solely about learning. You know, they didn't really care about, no one really cared about grades, that kind of stuff. You just sort of learn. My favorite subject was history. So I was so interested in the Egyptians, like all of this was so interesting to me. The second I got to secondary school, it was just how to write a grade A essay, how to do. And it sucked the fun out of learning for me. And I used to call myself like a greedy learner in primary school. I loved it. I'd go home and research on my own terms without anyone telling me. Second, you come to secondary school, it's just, this is how to write an essay. I'm just like, yeah, but I want to know what happened. I want to know this, that. And you can earn it very specific to a syllabus, isn't it? You can't really go out. I mean, you can, but it's a bit of a waste of time because it doesn't really count towards anything. So now that I've sort of left university and all that stuff, also adding on to the whole, you know, when you said that you didn't really get not get along with other people, but you sort of thought very differently and you didn't felt like you fit in. So basically, I growing up was very much an extrovert, meaning that, you know, I love being with people, whatever, but it was kind of toxic to the point where I didn't like being alone. When I was alone, I used to feel very uncomfortable. I'd be like, no, I don't like this. I always felt the need to be around people. So what I did I finished my exams in June time, whatever. And then from September until now, I've been spending 99% of my time alone. And when I tell you, it is the most, at the beginning, it was a bit uncomfortable. Yeah, because I'm something I'm not used to. But now I don't feel the need to be around people anymore. I found myself. I haven't completely found it. It's obviously still a journey, but I've been meditating. I've been reading books. I've been journaling, all this stuff. Working on my podcast, you know, having all these intellectual conversations. And it has been the most peaceful time of my life. Literally. It's incredible. So now I don't feel the need to be around people. Now I'm very choosy with who I spend my time with because I protect my peace. And you're very much about that as well. Sort of like the power of the mind. I don't know, because I just think if you're more picky about who you spend your time with or how you spend your time, I've stopped drinking. Completely.
Lovely. Oh my goodness. Got goosebumps. So proud of you.
Literally, it's amazing. I mean, I wasn't really interested in alcohol at all growing up. Like my parents didn't drink growing up, which honestly, I'm actually really blessed that they didn't because I wasn't surrounded by that. But and during my 3 years of university, I did. And so again, when I left, I was just like, no, I'm channeling my younger self. But I've also grown through that time, spending time alone and, you know, finding amazing coaches like yourself and connecting with you guys. I've learned so much. Like even, you know, with like water, I only drink it from, not from the tap. I drink it from our fridge, and it's got loads of like filters in it to sort of make sure the nutrients stay in, and through copper jugs. You know about the whole copper thing?
Ooh, yes.
Always. Like it's just been amazing. It's just great. And I was watching also, you know, a TikTok. Oh no, is it Deepak Chopra?
Yes, Deepak Chopra, yeah.
Deepak Chopra. Okay, so I watched Deepak Chopra's podcast a few days ago from the Diary of a CEO, and he was basically talking about the ultimate elements of pure health or like great health. And I think you mentioned 7 of them. So I kind of want to talk about each of those. So the first one is nutrient richness.
Yes.
So what can you tell me about that?
All right. So, well, the body was designed to be, and they all link with each other. So when I talk about one thing, you're going to find lots of other factors coming in together. We are part of Earth. We are not separate beings. And so the real foods that grow from the earth, these are nutrient-rich foods. These are things that our body actually craves, that our body actually enjoys, and that it actually needs to function. So, you know, an example of that would be, you know, whole beetroots, apples, you know, vegetables, whatever. And then an example of a less nutritious food would be chips or whatever. That's like fake. It's all designed and made up and full of salts, unhealthy salts and all that stuff. And so nutrient richness would be all about getting foods from real sources. I would put that in short, real whole foods. That would be nutrient richness. And that plays a huge role in regulating the system, in, you know, giving you what the environment that your body needs. And a lot of people, you know, they don't really put so much consideration into that. They just put consideration to lowering calories, for example, when it's not just about the calories, it's about what you actually eat. Mind you, without the pesticides, without the chemicals and the waxes that top all those things, just real whole foods. So that would be the first factor.
So what about like caffeine? You made a video recently about caffeine.
No, I am not against caffeine whatsoever. I just have, you know, a lot of caffeine is in like, I feel like everyone can relate to caffeine. So is it actually healthy or not? That would actually depend on the person's body type. So
Right.
I personally sometimes get the jitters and I feel shaky and all that stuff. So I make sure to avoid caffeine when I can. Although sometimes I find that with certain coffee brands or certain coffee beans that I'm better and with some than others. And so I'm always like, it's all about your personal body type. At the end of the day, there is no one size fits all. What does your body need? What does it want from you? What works with your body? Stick to that. So caffeine could be healthy, yes, but if you get the jitters, you can't sleep at night, please don't be drinking it before you go to sleep, or at least 10 hours before you sleep. And not even like as soon as you wake up. Some people like wake up and then they take their shot of espresso. Let your body do its own thing and wake you up, because then it gets dependent on that
Yeah, you
shot
get
of
reliant
espresso.
on it. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. So it's basically, so one of your main messages is probably try and understand your body personally. Don't compare yourself to somebody else.
Absolutely. I think with so much, you know, the society, like I said, when I was 13, 14, whatever, I've always been into hot girl summer and, you know, getting in shape, all that stuff. And I've always thought, okay, how can I eat less? How can I exercise more?
Yeah.
How can I make my body, this is a very key point. How do I make my body, or how can I change my body so that it can become something that I accept? But, and that's for some reason, that is the motto that a lot of people are functioning on, whether it was consciously or unconsciously. It's like, okay, I'm insecure, or I have this and this issue. I want to feel confident. Body, it's your job. I'm going to shred you to pieces, put you on severe diets, exercise 20 hours a day so that I can feel confident and I can look in the mirror and be happy. What if we change the narrative? And I'm getting goosebumps right now. What if we change the narrative and be like, how do I give my body what it needs so it can thrive? Why don't I give my body what it needs to thrive? Because when I do that, my body will become the most beautiful, the most excelling, the most healthy version of myself. My skin will glow, my hair will be like nothing else. My body will effortlessly be fit. Don't come against it. Because when you come against it, trust me, there's going to be so much resistance. And although you might get results, those results are not very functional.
They're temporary as well, right? They're temporary.
They're very temporary. Like a coach of mine, he's called Ronan Oliveira. If I'm not mistaken, Ronan Diego, he's amazing. He's my hollow body coach, and he was like part of the certification process. And he was telling his own story. He was like, when I was younger, I would get picked on by kids at my school. He was very skinny and all that stuff. And then when they would do PE, he would always be the one to get picked on, like, oh, he's gonna do that. Oh, he's gonna lift this. He's gonna do that. And so he just got this narrative that he is the skinny, weak kid. So when he grew up, he made sure to be the complete opposite of that, because he was like, success is me being buff, it's me being masculine, it's me being aggressive, all that stereotypical things that a man should be. So he put all his effort into going to the gym. He lifted weights like nothing else, protein shakes, protein this, protein that. And then he would, you know, with college as well, he'd be like, oh, sleep is for the weak. You know, I don't need to sleep. I'm going to study and I'm going to work out and I'm going to do this, that. And guess what? He did get the results. He was buff. He was whatever. He was tough, but he was unhappy. He was depressed. He would get dizzy. And when he gets up, he was not healthy whatsoever, which is ironic because he's working out, he's eating this, that, but where is the missing link then? The body was not getting what it needs. It was being forced into something that, you know, to give the person the self-confidence or to give the person what he's emotionally lacking. But what do you want? What can I as an individual or as a soul provide to my body, provide to this vessel that is blessed to us by God? It's a gift. And we know that gratitude is the most powerful tool on this planet. Whenever you think you're thankful, you gain more. And it's a code, or it's a secret. I don't know if you've read The Secret by Rhonda.
Do you know what's so funny? On my morning walk today, I was listening to it again today.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful book. Beautiful book.
So good. So good. Are you talking about the magic?
Yeah. No,
Gosh.
it's called The Secret, right? By Rhonda.
Yes, The Secret, but then there's multiple versions. I'm gonna put you on something.
Oh, please do.
Oh my goodness, read The Power
Oh,
by
I've heard
Rhonda.
about The Power. That's the next one on my list. The
Gosh,
Power.
it's life-changing. It's what kickstarted my journey. It's what got me.
Some people say they prefer that one to The Secret. Is it better than The Secret?
The original one, absolutely. I
Yeah.
don't like The Secret. I don't like the first one. No hate to Rhonda Bryne at all. I love this book.
Really?
But I feel like I feel like everything in The Power, it summarizes, I don't know, it summarizes everything.
Oh my God,
Plus
I'm putting that down. I'm putting that down right
Yes,
now.
absolutely
Right
beautiful.
now. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do
And
that.
then the magic is just more of an individualized thing for gratitude and then exercises to do that. So it deepens. But my personal favorites is The Secret, which is The Power, and then The Secret, The Magic. And then there's one that's daily teachings. This is just an extra, like a vitamin that you just add on to your daily routine or whatever. But those two books really kickstarted my journey. Like when I started my self-development journey, these were the two books I started with, and I never looked at life the same.
Oh my God.
So yes. Back to the point of
do you know what's
God.
crazy as well with The Secret? I was like, it's had such an impact on me. I can't imagine how much The Power and The Magic will have. I mean, essentially, The Secret is literally just law of attraction. Like, it's not too in depth or that kind of stuff, but I don't know. My God.
It's not in depth, sure, but I think like for a person who is new to this or is a beginner, it opens your eyes to that world, and it opens your eyes to that possibility of life and how you're actually in control of your life to a certain extent, or you're in control of the way you look at life and all these things. It just opens you up to that world and how it connects you to the divine. It connects you to the divine. I'm a Muslim, and I would consider myself to be religious, or I've just grown up close to God, thinking of God, all these things. And so when I read The Secret, I'm like, this is what every religion that God has put onto this earth speaks about.
They say it in the book. They mention every religion. Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, this is every religion, And then I opened my eyes to the fact that there is Christianity, Judaism, Islam, whatever. But so many people are focusing on the prophets and the different prophets, not understanding that it's from the same God. God doesn't change the religion every 500 years. It's the same religion with different prophets. We're all united. And so it's one message. And so reading that book opened my eyes not only to the spiritual realm and to this beautiful realm, but to history, to humanity, to people, and to how we're all interconnected, and to religion itself. And so I just found that to be a beautiful kickstart to my journey and to opening up to this, I like to call it the new earth. And it was beyond beautiful.
You keep getting me crying. Oh my God, I keep tearing up. You get goosebumps, I tear up. That's how it works. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so glad we've connected. I'm literally as soon as I was getting the link, I was like, oh my God, I love her. She's great.
Oh my goodness, I love you too.
You have the most beautiful aura. Seriously, the way you make me feel. And we've been talking for 20 minutes? Oh my goodness. I'm so glad we connected.
Thank you. I feel the same, absolutely. And I'm so glad we connected as well.
I'm so glad. It's such a shame you're so far away. We're so far away from each other.
It doesn't matter. There's such thing called airplanes, and we're moving all around. It's all right.
No,
Where
of
are
course,
you in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's cool. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Just outside of London.
I was thinking, I applied there for uni, but I ended up moving places. I'm moving to Geneva.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I would be moving around up. It's close to the UK. So train trips and a few
100%. Yeah, we'll do that. And also, it's been on my bucket list to go to Switzerland. See you on the way. See you on the way.
See you. It's beautiful.
Especially in winter. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited. The chocolate's there as well.
Oh gosh, it's the chocolate country.
It's amazing. And they're not too bad, right? Not too processed.
No,
we can have days off, Yeah. Seed oils.
Right. Oh my God.
What can you tell me about seed oils? Because I'm not going to lie, one thing, I think I put a TikTok about this, but coconut oil, it has been a game changer. I use it in a million different ways with cooking. Homemade lip scrubs. It's in my lip scrub. Oh, I think you've frozen. In my hair. I make homemade lip scrubs with natural ingredients because I don't trust you. You know what I mean?
Lovely.
You're proud of me.
Okay.
But in so many different ways, like it's just incredible. So I know that you're a big advocate for not using seed oils. So what is seed oils? Is that like sunflower oil?
Okay. Seed oils, anything, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, anything that's labeled as a seed oil or a vegetable oil, there's nothing vegetable-y about them, seriously. It's not fun. and the effects it has on the body. Like, I don't know if you were aware, but seed oils were invented around in the 1950s, and they were labeled as heart healthy because they were made of vegetable oils or plant oils or whatever. And the same industry that invented these seed oils are the same industry that said animal fats were bad for you, stay away from them, and, don't do that stuff. And so we've lived our life, cutting off the animal fats and ignoring this, ignoring that, whatever. But in reality, animal fats are very anti-inflammatory for the body, and it has many benefits, like ghee, for example, or whatever. You could read about the effects of ghee or other animal fats, or butter, organic butter, of course, like the real pure butter, as opposed to seed oils. Like, the amount of toxicity these things has, it is a major source of inflammation. And unfortunately, it is everywhere. Like, I'm not joking. Go to the supermarket. This is a tip I have for everyone. Before you buy anything in the supermarket, if you want to look out for seed oils, it's written in the back. Like, there is no shame. It's written in the back of everything. You just pick it up. Anything rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, whatever. Just read in the back, or soy lecithin, all these things. But that's another story. If there is that in the back, please stay away from them, because sometimes, once in a blue moon, you can take those things. You're not going to die. It's fine, right? But if people are consuming it on the daily, they're using it as substitutes for everything, frying this or putting it in that. And even if they're not really frying, it's indirectly in so many other products that they're consuming. And that is a major, major, major source. I would say one of the number one sources of inflammation for the human body. And inflammation is the source of all or most of the diseases. And so you can see where diseases are coming from. So back to the healthcare system and the sick care system, it's like, okay, so many people are getting sick, but it's great, doctors are treating them, right? Why are they getting sick in the first place? There's an entire system that they're living in that is causing them to be sick, from the daily things they ingest, to the stress, to the lifestyle and whatever. And since we're on seed oils is a big one, and it has omega-6 fatty acids. Those are not good. When those increase, omega-3 levels drop, and omega-3 is the actual source of fatty acids that we need. And so when omega-6 is there, it is responsible for so many diseases, so many, from heart issues to, digestive issues, to bloatation, to headaches, to all these things. And people are just suffering, and they don't understand that it's in front of them on the daily. So yes, huge advocate of zero seed oils. I hate that ingredient.
So what would be like a good alternative? Obviously, we mentioned coconut oil.
You can fry with coconut oil. You can, do whatever you want with coconut oil. It's amazing. You can eat it raw. You can use oil pulling with it. It's just medicine.
That is,
right?
I've done oil pulling. I do that
Amazing.
2 to 3 times a week.
It's amazing. Or you could use, I'm not sure about avocado oil, so I won't tell anyone that, but anything like ghee, butter, but make sure it's from an organic source. Ghee, butter, coconut oil. Olive oil is not bad, but I would use it, like, I wouldn't fry with it or expose it to hot temperatures, just because we don't know if it oxidizes. Or sorry, yeah, if there's any toxins that are released in the process. But olive oil on its own is beautiful. It's also amazing for the health. Just make sure that it's not mixed with refined oil, because I see so many brands that just mix them. I don't know. Okay. So yes, coconut oil, butter, these kind of anything natural. Any, people who, if people's grannies still use those recipes where they include their natural, butter or their whatever, those are all fine. Okay. Those are beautiful. Yes.
Does it matter if the butter is salted or unsalted?
Yes, because typically they won't salt it with Celtic salt or Himalayan salt or something natural. They'll salt it with table salt, and that is another issue that causes blood pressure and other chronic issues. So
sea salt, right, is a good option. Sea salt?
Sea salt is good. Celtic salt, I think Celtic salt is sea salt, but yes, I just like Celtic salt and pink Himalayan salt, because those things have around like just tons of minerals, and it helps with the body. Like I said, if you put a pinch of it in your water and you drink it, those minerals will actually help the hydration get into your cell.
Because you'd think the opposite, wouldn't you? Because you think salt, dehydration, but it's the opposite.
You know why? Because regular table salt, and I just released a video about it as well a few days ago. Regular table salt, when they first extract the real salt, right, they add chlorine and they bleach it, and then they add a bit of aluminum. So it's stripped of all its minerals. What do you call it? Like, potassium levels are decreasing, and sodium, or what you call chlorine, gosh, I don't want to give false information, but other chemicals are rising, right? And so what's in the body, too much sodium is being absorbed by the cell, and hence the cell swells up. And when the cell swells up, guess what happens? Blood pressure. And then it holds onto water, not because it's hydrating your body. When there's so much water stuck in your cells, it's not going to accept more water. It's just going to be water retention and high blood pressure and all these other issues just because of that table salt.
Oh my gosh.
I made the switch to Celtic salt and pink Himalayan salt, and it makes all the difference.
Why do we not get taught this in school, Sarah?
My question, it's the same question. Like, sure, this is just on health, but like, think of all the things we're learning from these books and these things that actually changed our lives. Why are we not being taught that at school? I cannot do maths to save my life. I'm not joking. I have a maths test tomorrow. I have no idea what is happening, right?
Oh my God, go and study. Go and study after this.
That's another issue. No. Trust me, I'm failing anyways, but like, I don't really care. That maths paper is the least of my concern. But the thing is, a lot of people, when they're like, when they don't know something, right? They're like, oh, grades are the most important thing. If a person doesn't know how to do something, it's not because they're stupid. It's because their brain understands their purpose that is wired within them, and it finds this information irrelevant to what they are supposed to do. So it's like, listen, I'm not going to waste my energy and time on this. I'd much rather do something that would benefit our purpose here and our divine, mission. Why would I waste my time spending, I don't know, X plus God knows what, pi squared? I don't care. Your brain is not going to function or try and solve the equation.
Passion.
If you want to know your purpose, if you want to know what you're doing here, follow your passion. It is the thing that is connected to the divine, and that's connected to what you're doing here, and it's connected to your purpose. It's like, okay, I don't know what I want to do here, my dream job, my dream this. What is something that you feel so called to do, that it feels so natural, that you feel like time is limitless, like you feel time doesn't exist when you're doing something like this, right? When you get into that bliss, I love this quote, follow your bliss, because once you follow your bliss, you'll understand what you're truly meant to do. Because, for example, to me, I found like recently that coaching, helping people, spreading awareness, creating this movement is a huge part of my purpose, if not my purpose, right? Because before I've entered this world, before I've done any of these things like the coaching world and the holistic health and life coaching and all these things, I was just a person on my own individual journey. And I was learning those things on my own. And I would find that I would give my friends advice, or I would give my family advice, and I would talk to this person and talk to that person. And what I find is that, people would start to tear up, or people would start to...
It's happened to me 3 times already. Oh my goodness. You have that effect on people.
Gosh. Yeah, I get that a lot, which is why I sort of link the things and like, oh my God, why are you can't shut up about this. You get out there, do something about it. You can't just stay and do nothing. And so I found that people are like, oh my God, you changed my life. I'm like, oh my God, damn.
Oh my gosh.
It touches me so much. So I'm like, Sarah, if you are helping, people at a closer level or whatever, don't you think that if those people don't know what you said, don't you think other people would want to know what's happening? Don't you think other people would want to be aware? And so which was what led me to understanding, okay, I love to do this. I'm talking effortlessly. I'm teaching effort. I'm helping effort. It's what I want to do. And so I just found that whatever you do, whatever feels so natural to you, stick to that. Self-development, podcasts, all these things. I've got into it. I couldn't stop reading. I couldn't stop listening to podcasts and to all these things. It lit my soul, right? Getting into that world. Follow whatever lights your soul. There is so many answers there. There is the answer there. It's the exact reason you're here. And so that's one of the most important things, like one of the important lessons I've learned in my life. Your heart is not just there to pump blood into your body. It's there and it has so much information, so much divine wisdom. Your emotions are there to tell you something. You're not just here to cry and laugh and get sad and have all these different reactions for no reason, or just because it's the body's natural reaction. It's connected to the soul, and it's connected to the divine and the entire universe and why we're here. Listen to your emotions. Listen to what makes you feel sad. Listen to what makes you feel angry. Because chances are when you're angry, anger is not a terrible emotion, as they say. Anger actually shows you that you care. Anger is trying to protect you and shows you that you deserve better. Sadness shows that, someone has crossed your boundaries and that you need a boundary, or that, you need to do something about it. So stop trying to force away emotions. Stop hiding it away, because the more you push something down, the more it will rise to the surface and explode. You want to ride every emotion. If you're sad, gosh, so what? Be sad. Cry out loud. For God's sake, cry. Please cry. Or if you're angry, oh my gosh, let it out. Just, listen to that emotion and sit with it. And as scary as it sounds to actually face, what you're going through, talk to your inner demons. What do you want to teach me? Why are you here? Right? They're here for a purpose. There's nothing, not even a speck of life that happens to you by accident. And so once you sit with your demons, you'll realize that they're actually not that bad. And all they want to be is be seen. And once they're seen and understood, they are free, and so are you. And you are freed from everything, and you live with so much abundance, so much light, because you're just open to receiving what you're meant to receive, and you understand your emotions, and you're just walking through life the way you were meant to and the way you were put into this earth to do. And so, yes, emotions are a major one. And it ties to health in many ways.
Yes. Because I've spoken about this in quite a few episodes. And are you into astrology? Yeah.
To a certain extent.
So
To a certain extent.
my moon is a Pisces, and I only found this out a couple of months ago, because I wasn't really into astrology until maybe this time last year. But I've always said one of my biggest weaknesses, yes, I never used to be able to set strong, healthy boundaries, too overly nice to the point where it was really stupid, that kind of stuff. But one of my things that I really hated about myself, which is a really strong word as well, like I've worked on, forgiving myself, whatever. I feed off of energy very easily, as well as the fact that every emotion I feel so deeply. So if I'm happy, I'm ecstatic. If I'm sad, I feel so low and I need to cry. If I'm angry, I feel so much anger. So I used to see that as a weakness a lot of the time, because I was just like, oh my God, why can't, like, for example, if I were to have an argument with a parent or something and I went to school, I wouldn't stop thinking about it. So I'd be like, why do I feel so deeply? Why can't I just be like, okay, forget that for now and focus what you're doing? And I've learned that's not who I am. But somebody on somebody on a recent episode, I think it was Iman, we did a sort of episode about the power of sisterhood and the divine feminine and spirituality, all that kind of stuff. And she said, Garima, that's actually your superpower. And I said, why? And she said, because as human beings, we are meant to feel, we are meant to show emotions. So the fact that you do feel so deeply, you are dealing with those emotions there and then, rather than trying to suppress them, and then they explode out one day to a point where it's uncontrollable. So now I'm just like, okay, do you know what? It's fine. So what I've realized now, I'm just like, if I feel sad, go to a room, go and cry it out, maybe journal about it, whatever, and then come out and that's it. You've dealt with it. It's not going to come back to haunt you or whatever. So I've learned that is a superpower, showing your emotion. It is a superpower.
It is a superpower, and it's a superpower that you're able to feel. Because you brought me to tears just because I relate to that at a personal level. I recently found out or learned that I'm an empath, and other people's energies affect me so much, and I feel so deeply. And as parents, they're looking out for you or whatever. My mother would tell me like, oh my God, you're so sensitive, stop crying, or oh my God, you're so sensitive, this, that. And then as I grew up, she talked to me more as like an adult, and she's like, Sarah, I'm literally worried for you because of how sensitive you are. And I'm like, Mother, I'm like, Mom, I wouldn't change it for the world. And I've heard like recently as well, when you're gifted a heart that's so clear and transparent, there's this quote that says, the world was not designed for people like you. People like you were made for the world.
Oh, you're doing it again. Oh my God, how many times have I cried? That was in the sixth time.
But it's beyond true. It's beyond true. Like, why does everyone have to act like each other, or why does everyone have to fit in a specific mold? The fact that you are here is a gift. It's a blessing. You are light to humanity, and your challenges and the way you face them and what you learn along the way is what makes you who you are meant to be. It's what makes you who you're meant to be. Like, recently when I look, like I said, you can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. It's So when I connect the dots looking backwards, all of my toughest times, my toughest emotions, me not understanding how to deal with all this, like all the stimuli that has been like affecting me, and all these energies made me understand how to cope with them, how to learn them, how to appreciate them. And all this divine wisdom that I learned along the way is what I'm teaching other people to do, other people that need something like this. And it's because of my sensitivity, it's because of my empathy that I'm able to coach people. It's because of my empathy that I'm able to actually care for the world and not just be like, okay, so what, I don't know, hell to the rest of everything, you know. I'm like, no, this is beautiful, and I would love to connect with people. It's who I am, and who I am is a superpower, just like who you are is a superpower, and it's a gift to humanity. God does not create anyone or anything by accident. I cannot stress this enough. So everything in your life, everything that's led you to this moment was no accident. From the fears that you have, from the hardships you encounter, to everything that breaks you, God only breaks us down to break us through. We are only ever challenged to learn, to grow, and to step into who we were meant to be. Because oftentimes we pray for something, and when God gives us challenges to make us grow into the person that is able to accept the life we want, we get confused and we're like, oh my God, this is hard, this is scary. Trust the process. You are never alone. And our limited human minds always think that, you know, sometimes we're like, oh, either God is so far, or, you know, sometimes I did this and this wrong, he's probably angry at me. God is so much bigger, and he's always on your side. He didn't create us and leave us there. He is rooting for you. And for some people who believe in the universe or whatever, the divine is on your side. The divine is rooting for you. The divine is encouraging you. So never put that limitation like, oh, I don't deserve to be helped, I don't deserve to be this. So what are you doing here? You're not wasting space and air. You're here to, there is a purpose, there is a divine mission. Follow that path, follow your heart, and thrive and excel and express yourself to the fullest, because once you find liberation in who you are, you help others do the same. And that's powerful. Yeah.
Oh my God. That was the second one of, you know, the 7 ultimate elements of pure health. That was finding your purpose. You just summed that up beautifully. Like I'm a bit speechless. Oh my gosh. This is a blessing connecting with you, seriously. I wouldn't just say that. Seriously.
Thank you. And it's a blessing to be here. And it's a blessing to meet you, honestly.
It's such a blessing. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh,
I mean, life is beautiful. It's crazy, like how each of our individual paths led us to this specific moment.
Isn't it so crazy? Every decision, everything we did.
Yes. Just as this would lead us to many more others. And you'll see the dots connecting them backwards as to what happens.
It's so true. It's so true. Like there's a lot of times where I look back on life and I just like, oh, I should have started earlier, or I should have done this then, I should have whatever. But everything, like you said, led me to who I am now. And probably maybe it was God protecting me that I didn't start then.
Definitely.
You know?
Everything happens for a reason, and perhaps that delay sort of taught you things that, you know, just trust and move forward, knowing that you are divinely guided.
And protected and save all of us. Like, oh my gosh. Sorry, quickly, can you sum up the 7? Just list them out, because I think I just sort of went into the first one without, so the listener can.
No worries. I just want to find the page that actually talks about those things.
Look at you, organized in that.
This is actually my coaching booklet. This is everything I've learned. Things. I don't know. I might send you a screenshot of something just to explain a few things. I don't know if you can see this tree here.
Oh, yes.
This, I don't know if it's inverted, right? But
no,
this is root causes, all right? This is inflammation, and this is every chronic disease you can think of, from blood pressure to diabetes to cancer to everything that people are struggling with. The root of that is inflammation.
Oh my God, yeah, you put it on the trunk.
Yes. Once you learn how to heal inflammation, you heal everything else. So the key to healing is healing inflammation. That's what people need to know. People need to learn how to stop inflammation and to recognize that the products that are all around them are actually causing inflammation and causing these issues. Exactly. The solution is so simple, yet to actually make that change in the world, it needs It needs a lot of courage, it needs a lot of boldness, and it needs movement, and it might take time. But all it takes is one person to wake up and to make the change and to share it, or to just spread that ripple, right? And once there's enough people, then, there's enough awareness for the change to actually happen.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I just wanted to share, because inflammation is the main cause of every disease. People want to know how to heal disease. Heal inflammation. Heal the inflammation that's causing that disease.
Do you know what I was going to ask you earlier, going back to the nutrient richness, the first of the 7 elements?
Yes.
I was going to, I don't know if this is a bit of a silly question, but in my head, I had an understanding that anything natural is good for us. Is that true or false? Because if you were to say, for example, sunflower oil, to an extent, it's a natural, but does it mean that the natural things that cause inflammation are bad for us, but the ones that don't are extremely good for us? Is that a weird question?
That's an amazing question. That's perfect. That's spot on. I think the biggest misconception people have, especially when it comes to seed oils, is they think it's natural. Seed oils or vegetable oils, right? But we can talk about seed oils. Let's say they take the sunflower seeds, they crush it or they turn it into an oil. Because it stinks so bad, they add like deodorizer, and then they remove the color out of it, and then they add a few other things, and then they refine it like over, a few times, and then they add a few other things, and they remove other things. By the end of the process, that thing is far from sunflower. That is just, some kind of liquid. That's just a chemical. So it is not natural. But if a person were to eat the actual sunflower seeds without any additives or whatever, you just planted it like it was and it grew and you ate that seed, there would be no issue.
Okay.
It's the way the oils are created.
I see.
Yes. So everything natural is potentially good for you, except if you have an allergy or a food sensitivity, Otherwise, yes, everything natural is good for you, especially when we're talking about nutrient richness. So there's nothing wrong with anything natural.
So it's about the manufacturing process that happens after that. What is done to the natural?
It's far from natural. It's literally a chemical yellow liquid, right? There is no actual oils or real things. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's why I always say there's nothing vegetable-y about them. There's nothing actually real about them.
I see.
So that was the main issue. Oh, here are the oils actually.
Oh.
You can summarize it into CSRP.
CSRP.
Yes. C for canola oil, cottonseed oil, or corn oil. Okay. All right, those are a big no. And then S for soybean oil, sunflower oil, or safflower oil. And then R for rapeseed oil or rice bran oil. And then the last one, P, palm oil. Palm oil is everywhere for some reason. And literally what's worse than that is that those oils, they're liquid, right? They come in a liquid form. Sometimes, because real butter is expensive, or like these hard solid fats that are natural are expensive, they take these oils and they hydrogenate them. So this extra hydrogenating process turns it from a liquid into a solid block. And now we can call these solid blocks trans fat. Trans fat is, like, just to summarize it, there's literally a fact right here, and it says 20% of the heart attacks that are caused in the entire world is because of trans fat. All right? I think around 80%, or where? There's like a huge number, just so I don't want to give false facts, right? There's a huge number of deaths in the world that are majorly caused by heart attacks. Like, one of the number 1 causes of deaths in the world is heart attacks. And 20% of that is caused by trans fat. So can you see the link there, right? It's like, okay, but it's like available everywhere. Why is it illegal is the question, right? Why is it legal? Why is it available? It's not normal. Definitely a change needs to happen. So we spoken about nutrient richness and having our bodies just, eat foods that are real, that are whole, that are natural. That is one of the most primary needs that our body actually needs.
Yeah.
And the second thing is frequent movement. Our bodies now we've been so sedentary. We've been sitting all the time, from school to after school to everywhere to work. We're just sitting all the time. And back in the day, we were either hunting food, we were either moving to get something, we were constantly moving, right? And so it's part of the system that is designed. It's just the natural system, and we've broken that system. And so our bodies are responding accordingly. that is not healthy, right? So
Yeah.
in order to be healthy and functioning, you need nutrient richness, we need to move, we need to constantly be walking, whatever. And the third one is sound sleep.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites.
Mm.
Oh my God, the amount of fights I have about this one, especially with my friends. My God, these people don't sleep. These people don't sleep. This is so important when, especially, like, I don't know, we'll talk about the most basic things, like people who are trying to lose weight. If they don't sleep, right? Let's start here. Missing an hour of sleep a day, right, from what your body actually needs, would have your brain functioning the next day as though it has a pint of beer in your system.
Oh my
Pint of
gosh.
beer. So that explains the feeling that when you lack sleep or you had a sleepless night, you wake up and you're like all over the place. Your brain is drowsy, you're not feeling your best, you don't feel the energy levels all right. That's because your body's functioning as though there's a pint of beer in your system. And so, that causes inflammation on its own. So it's a constant cycle, right? Okay, we've all had sleepless nights. We all had to travel that one night, or we all had that meeting we couldn't cancel that was later, whatever. But if it becomes a lifestyle, that is very dangerous. That is very dangerous. And it can cause so many issues from, having your body functioning at fight or flight mode, which we know that is a major, major issue because your body's on survival mode. It's not focusing on having you heal and thrive. Or it will cause like some kind of brain issue and cause early Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever because it's messing with the brain system. Or it has someone like gain weight like crazy because it's scientifically proven that, for example, if we had a night without sleep or we hadn't slept well for consecutively or whatever, the next day we'd be craving food with high calories, high calories.
I've heard about this, yeah.
You'd be craving like a huge Big Mac or a Coke or whatever. And it's a natural response. Your body's trying to keep you alive, right? Back in the day, when there was no technology, there was none of this new generational stuff. If a person didn't sleep at night, it's unnatural. They'd either be running from a cheetah or they'd be like finding a shelter, right? They're doing some kind of crazy thing that needs survival skills. And so the next day, your body's smart. It's like, my goodness, you need help. I'm going to have you crave something high caloric so we can restore the energy from you running all night. Because I'm sure you had a terrible night, right? But we were probably at night scrolling on TikTok or doing whatever, right? But our body's like, you need help, you've been running from a tiger, right? So here's a Big Mac, here's a Pepsi. And back in the day, if we were craving some high caloric food, we would go to a beehive and have some fresh raw honey. And so that would be like, okay, sure, sugar levels are high or whatever, but it is natural and it is full of antioxidants, full of vitamins, full of medicinal properties for the body. But now when someone's craving a high caloric food, they go to McDonald's and order a large Pepsi, or they munch on the huge cake that's in their fridge, and that has a completely different effect. And then obesity happens and all these things, especially when it's a chronic lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so those are just a few of sleeplessness's effects, but it's disgusting. I personally hate lack of sleep, with a passion.
I can't function. Me
too.
too.
Like, you're such a grandma. Why aren't you coming to this or that? I'm like, excuse me, I need to sleep.
Sleep comes
This is my
first.
me time.
Always.
So that's one thing, sleep quality. But then there's sleep quantity. The two things that make up sound sleep. Sleep quantity, so the amount of hours you sleep at night, and then there's sleep quality.
How good you sleep, how deep your sleep is.
Yes, you have to genuinely enter a state of deep sleep and enter your brainwave frequency from the regular beta state into delta. You need to sync, and you need to stay there for a long amount of time for the repairment to actually happen in your body, for the healing, for the recovery of whatever happens that day. Because when you're sleeping, your body isn't just recovering, your brain is also filtering the thoughts through that day, the events, and storing them properly. So when you don't sleep, your system is all over the place. And when it's a chronic thing, that becomes an issue. And so the components that make up sound sleep would be quantity, like I said, depending on what your personal body needs, and then quality. So make sure that it's pitch black, make sure there's no noises, and the room is cool enough and you're comfortable in your bed. That is just the major function, the major things, right?
Yeah.
And no alarms binging in the night. Please put your phone on airplane mode. That's a big one. Please put your phone on airplane mode.
It's also when you wake up as well, isn't it? You're not open to all these notifications I've heard about this. I've been doing that recently, the airplane mode thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I always put my phone in airplane mode, especially because the EMF radiations that
Yeah,
are
sorry,
being
that's the
emitted,
main reason.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, I turn it off. It's I can't, like, even if I'm having sleepover or someone has to like sleep with me for whatever reason, I'm like, where's your phone? Turn
it off.
Airplane mode. I can't sleep. So yes, just make sure there's no pings and dings in the middle of the night. And in order for you to actually find out how many hours your personal body needs, sleep for like 1 week at the same time every night, and then wake up with no alarm. How many hours is that on average? Because the first 2 days you're maybe sleeping sleep debt from all the nights you didn't sleep. So the first few days might not be accurate. But then after that, how many hours are you sleeping and you wake up without an alarm? Waking up with an alarm is not natural. You need to, for beautiful health, you need to wake up. Your body actually woke you up. It's like, I'm done. I've done my recovery. I'm ready to start this day. That's how a person should be sleeping. And that's so important.
Oh, literally. Everyone tells me, Garima, you just need 6. Why do you sleep for so long? I'm like, you might.
Yeah.
Not me, darling, please. Like they're always like, oh my God, yeah, you don't actually, like, for me, I've figured out, I've done exactly what you said. I wake up, I don't like waking up with an alarm. It's such a sudden shock to the body. So what I like to do is I like to sleep pitch black, like you said, and then I'll open the curtains slightly. So I'm waking up with natural sunlight.
Natural sunlight. Beautiful.
Oh, it's the most beautiful. Oh, it's the most beautiful way to wake up. I've never woken up with a shock. I wake up naturally, how my body wants. So yeah, a lot of people say, oh, we only need 6 to 7 hours. I can say so much about this. First of all, we need, as women, we need more sleep than men, solely due to biology. People don't know that. The 4 phases, all of that, we can talk about that. The other thing is, I wanted to touch on what you said earlier about the fight or flight mode. When you're in fight or flight mode, your reproductive system shuts off completely because your body thinks, okay, I don't really need this right now for survival. How scary is that?
Oh, my goodness. And you just reminded me of all the infertility rates that are up the roof.
Yeah. I literally spoke about this oh my gosh. I literally spoke about this with my episode with Iman. She's a womb facilitator, massager. Like, she's great. You'll like that episode. It's really, really great. And she basically talks about that. She's like, women were not meant to work as much as men because we don't handle stress the same way as men. And all medicine research and stuff, which I found out from my last episode. She's also a life coach. She's more about transformation. She's a transformation expert. So she basically used to be on Adderall medication, and now she's completely against medication. She's very much like you and me, who question everything, like, why is this like that? So she basically found that when she was on her medication journey and coming off of it and being against it and whatever, she researched and she found that every single medicine out there, every single drug, it's been tested and trialed on a man's body due to a man's biology.
I've heard that fact. Yes. Just imagine, like, that's sad on its own. Like, okay, the difference in genetics, the genetic coding, and then the biology and the hormonal cycle, that's like the difference between the sun and the moon. You can't be testing those things and then just assuming that it's fine on us. And it's not a study done by purpose. I'm not saying that, but it's just a lack of scientific, thinking, right? That, okay, this is a man's body, but like, a woman's body is completely different. We're
not the same. Men and women are not the same at all. Like you said, the phase thing I feel so strongly about, because if I'm honest with you, yes, we learned about the menstrual cycle in school or whatever. I didn't realize that the 4 phases, you need to be eating differently. Your mood goes up and down. Like, it's crazy. Like, suddenly, I remember, like, on day 15 or 16, suddenly my mood will drop and my energy is low. And I'm like, why is it like this? It's because of my cycle. I'm not crazy,
Yes. And can you imagine the amount of people, and I was one of them, I would feel so terrible. I would be like, I suck. I'm so lazy. Like, every time I have an idea and I'm so excited about, I start to work on it, and then my energy levels are so, why? And like you said, we've been taught at school, but we've been taught that, we could get hormonal 2 days before our period. That's fine.
That's it. We bleed from 3 to 5 days, and there's 28 days cycle. That's it. And then there's ovulation. You haven't told us the mental, psychological effects of that.
No.
Why are we so energetic right after our period? Why? It's because we have an increase in testosterone. We're we get things done. Whatever it is, like, we're so energetic, then suddenly it goes down because obviously ovulation, it brings down the energy. It's a hormonal thing. We don't get taught it.
Exactly.
Men, they
Yeah.
wake up as a brand new person every single day.
Yeah.
Same energy. They wake up with the same energy. Like, yeah.
Exactly. And think of the way society was designed, right? It was designed, and now with just historical events and the oppression that women faced, now they're like, oh, feminism, I can work, I can do what a man does. You shouldn't be doing what a man does. You can do better than a man does, but you shouldn't be doing like a man does.
In our own way, in our own biology,
Yeah, in
according
our
to
own
us.
way. We can do so much that a man can't do,
Of
just like a man
course.
can do so much that we can't do. And respect that balance. Respect the fact that there is an opposite to everything and how we complete each other.
Yeah.
This is something I feel so strongly about. Like, men and women aren't competitors of each other. We
No.
belong to each other. We are here to help each other. And when we come together and we act as one force, we are powerful enough to create life. Right? So when people are like, oh, I can do what a man does or whatever, why though?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, yes, we can,
You know?
but think about the toll it's doing on your body. Do you need to? Do you have to? To prove what?
Yeah. Connect into your divine feminine, connect into the body, connect back into your, that feminine drive. And we have a balance of feminine and masculine, whatever, but you shouldn't be lifting weights and grinding like a man does. Your magic lies in your creativity, lies in your ability to flow like water, right? And so just the way society was designed, and this feminism and like working and all these things, it just puts a woman, like you said, in fight or flight mode. And fight or flight mode, and let's not talk about all the things that, probably men are also in fight or flight mode just because of the way society is designed. But like I said, fight or flight mode, the body is not going to care whether your digestive system is functioning properly or whether everything else is intact. And obviously, if you're not able to survive properly, it's not going to care if you got a baby right now. It's just going to care if you survive. So obviously, the reproductive system just shuts down completely when a woman is in fight or flight, because it's like, I need to save you first.
Yeah.
Who cares if the baby right now? And then people are like, and then women take pills for that, and then they go and do, all these different procedures, and it's like, listen, it's not. The mind wants to overcomplicate anything, but healing is as simple as reconnecting, healing from that stress, grounding your energy, and coming back into who we are, because the medicine lies within. We are created to heal and to thrive. And once you learn to connect to that and to create the right environment, your body you'll be a completely different person. Like the man's cycle, it's a 24-hour hormonal cycle. So in the morning, his energy peaks, right? He goes
He's
to
a
work,
brand new every single day. We don't have that.
He sleeps at night. He's a restart button completely.
Literally.
It takes weeks for us.
Yes.
Right? But it takes weeks for us, and it's great. It's an amazing cycle.
Does this sort of link into one of the other ones, which is syncing with nature?
For sure. Sync with nature, absolutely. Because like I said, a lot of the way society is designed was designed to sort of have us outside of nature. There is nature, and then there's us in our corporate jobs. There's nature, and then there's us in our closed households and whatever. But connection to nature is such an important factor, because we are nature, and we forget that often. We are nature. And so syncing with nature can be, from waking up in the morning and sleeping at night with the sun and the moon. Connecting with nature can be leaving your phones and these devices and all those things. Get out in the sun, look at the sun, take off your shoes, take off your heels, put the soles of your feet onto grass, walk, hug a tree, for God's sake, just run in nature. I don't know, pick flowers, have your pick an apple from the tree and eat it. Be that connected to nature. Meditate in the breeze of the wind, feel the sun on your face. Just be so connected and flowing with nature that you just understand that you're a part of it.
That's so powerful. You said we are nature.
We are. And I don't know if you feel it in your body, but just thinking of being in the ocean or stepping on sand or stepping on the grass, and even to the people listening to this podcast right now, think of that. Doesn't your body feel at peace? Doesn't your body feel calmer already? See, the thing is, our body knows what it wants, and once we signal like, oh, I can see you, I can feel whatever, it starts to heal because it's like, oh my God, I'm seen. Oh my God, I'm back to who I am. And so that healing can be as simple as that. But mind wants to overcomplicate things, and there's just a lack of awareness around everything. So yes, sync with nature is a big one, and I'm such a big fan of it. And that's of course away from pesticides, away from these hormonal disrupting chemicals and these perfumes that are, I love perfumes, right? But like some perfumes just take it to the next level, and it's just that much of a chemically smell. Just stay away from chemicals as much as you can. Stick to nature, essential oils. I don't know, like I said, reconnect with that. You'll find how much it affects your body.
I've heard this about the whole walk barefoot on grass. It's like, it's really good for your mental health. I need to do that.
Not just mental health. There was a person that was struggling with healing, like I don't know if it was back problems, like she couldn't walk properly. She was a bit paralyzed or something like that, and medicines wouldn't help. And what she did was she started to take off her feet every day, sit in the sun. Did I say take off her feet? Take off her shoes. She'd put her feet on the grass and she'd walk barefoot.
Gosh.
And she'd walk and she'd sort of meditate and feel the energy flowing, or the pain or whatever into the ground. Because once the soles of our feet, there's energy centers on the soles of our feet. Once we connect with nature, it's like these electrical charges, these excess, even when we're on the device for all day long, these like EMF radiations, whatever that's in our system, go put your hands on the sand in the beach, or put your feet, it will absorb all that once we're connected to earth, because our soles of the feet have energy centers like the ones on our hands and our chakras. Once we put our feet on the grass, it absorbs all of that. And so what this woman was like suffering with, when she used to do that and practice that kind of, attitude, when she'd like connect with nature and put her feet on the grass, slowly she started to walk. The pain started to fade, because she reconnected with that force, and nature sort of like, it's healing, it's powerful. It just absorbed with the grass and the rest of the world, and that's powerful.
My God.
That's what I'm saying. Healing can be this simple.
That is your thing. You always say it might not be easy, but it's simple.
Yeah.
And also going back to just, syncing with nature, we get told all the time throughout media, put on sun cream every day, every single day, sun cream, lather on every 2 hours, blah, 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 blah. And the sun causes cancer. But you made a TikTok video and you said, I think I put it at the very beginning, they blame cancer on the sun. And you said sun is our biggest healer. Why? It's natural. How is it gonna?
Yeah, look,
because the sun cream as well, like it's got all these chemicals in it, doesn't it? So what's your advice with that whole thing with the skincare and wearing sun cream every day and that stuff?
All right. So let me balance out 2 points of views here, right? So the aesthetic side of things, and then the health side of things. So the aesthetic side, linked with the health side, exposure to too much sun, and at certain times, like when it's too strong, over time it can cause wrinkles, premature aging, and sometimes in severe cases when it's like sunburn, and especially under the countries that the ozone layer is like messed up in, then it can cause cancer. But they blame so much of it on the sun that it's not right. So what I do recommend is, there's no I'm not against sunscreen at all. I personally use sunscreen. However, I use sunscreen that is zinc oxide based, not the chemical sunscreens that are actually cancer causing. Because a lot of the typical commercial sunscreens that you buy in the drugstore are so toxic that if someone were to put it on their skin and then go into the ocean, it bleaches an entire coral, which is why there's reef safe sunscreens. It's terrible for the environment. And back to the sync with nature point, we are nature. So anything that destroys nature or is bad to nature, know that it's also harmful to us as well. So I just avoid those sunscreens that contain oxybenzone, something like that, all these weird chemicals that you can't pronounce, and I stick to the ones that are zinc oxide based. The funny thing is, you can get that, have you heard of soda cream?
Yes. Oh, so
The
yes, the grey one with the red, yeah.
Yes, the one for diaper rashes and things like that.
Yeah.
That is actually full of zinc oxide, and you can use that as a sunscreen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. That, and then there's so many other brands, like I think Glow Screen, that's trending as well. Glow Screen, it's a bit pricey, but it's worth the hype. And then there's Neutrogena. That's also, it's really good. The zinc oxide one, it makes all the difference. So yes, overall, the sun may cause cancer to a certain limit when there's extreme burns and extreme exposure to sun, but the way they're advertising it is a bit false. Because the sunscreen that we're using is actually worse than the sun itself. And in opposition, actually, when we look into the sun at certain times, like in the early mornings and then sunsets, the rays from the sun actually activate our pineal gland, which helps us, connect more and be more in tune and awake, like spiritually, and also for the health. And this pineal gland is been so damaged overall because of the fluoride that we've been consuming through the products and our distilled waters and things like that. So the sun is one of the most healing, powerful tools that you could find. And like I said, it's part of being in sync with nature. There's nothing in nature that is potentially harmful to you, right? Like, sure, tigers could potentially eat a person, but I mean, in general, their natural is the way to go. So the sun is beautiful. It's amazing. You just have to be cautious at certain times when you're being exposed to too much sun. And I mean, too much sun. It's not that bad, right? But I mean, in extreme cases, when people are constantly tanning and are constantly being sunburned, then there's an issue. But regular sun is beautiful.
So how do we combat? Oh, you've answered the question. I was going to say, how do we combat sort of balancing the aesthetic side with the health side? And you literally said use sunscreen, zinc oxide.
Enjoy yourself. Put sunscreen occasionally, right? I put it for prevention of aging and things like that, and all these beautiful other effects. But I use a zinc oxide based one, not the chemical one. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then also, I was just going to add on, I don't know if this sort of links to the nature thing. What do we do about the sanitary towels? What do we do about that?
Everyone is asking me that question in my DMs. Unfortunately, there is such a lack of variety in general, but stick to organic cotton. Now, there are brands on Amazon that I will try and find for you right now.
Oh, thank you.
These brands are just made of pure organic cotton.
Wow.
So people don't find issues with that. But the only issue is that it's inconvenient. Instead of being, in your local supermarket, you have to go on Amazon to actually buy them. But it's the first steps that we have to take to protect our health. And
I'll link everything in the description on every platform that this is on.
All right, perfect. So there's this one. I don't know if you can see.
Organic, clinically proven protection, organic cotton feminine pads. Okay.
Right. So there are options out there. You just have to get out and look, which is sometimes inconvenient, but when you do look for things, you will find it. And another brand is August Co.
Wow, you're so you.
I've done my research. I've dug deep into this. August, right? This is their TikTok account. They're available. I don't know where they're based. They're either in the UK or in the US.
Okay.
They're on Amazon as well. It's this.
At It August CO. Got you.
Yeah.
Oh no, It's August CO, yeah.
So there is, I think if it's in America, then it's probably in Ulta and all these stores that are commonly, found, whatever. So basically what I'm saying, if you look for it, it's there. Some people it's harder to access than others. For example, for me, I have to order on Amazon and it's a hustle, but it's worth the hustle, it's like priorities. So yes, there are health conscious brands out there, and sanitary towels are a big one.
Thank you so much for researching this and telling it to the world. Like it just shows how big your heart is. Thank you so much. Seriously.
It's my pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure, seriously.
So we've spoken about we've spoken about nutrient richness. We've spoken about frequent movement. The human body was made to move. Sound sleep. Oh, girl, that's
a big one.
That's a huge one. Syncing with nature.
Connecting with it, being part of it, flowing with it, stepping barefoot, just sleeping with the moon and waking up with the sun, that kind of thing.
And then the sense of purpose you spoke about beautifully near the beginning. Inner stillness. Does that mean meditation? That's the sixth one.
Beautiful. Yes, this is beautiful. Right. So this is the second before last, and I'm going to save the best for last because I think this is one of the most powerful things we can talk about, and it's deep connection.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly about that. Talking about inner stillness, sure, it has something to do with meditation. Meditation can play a part in it, but inner stillness basically means, or it talks about how peaceful are you inside? How comfortable are you inside? Because you could be eating your greens and doing your exercise, but if you're in a constant state of stress and you hate life, it's not working, because inflammation will be rising and you're going to be in a state of fight or flight. And we know that we want to do anything we can to be out of the state so we can thrive instead of survive. So inner stillness is, how are your emotions on the inside? Sure, we have bad days and sad times, but that's fine. Just make sure it's not chronic and constant. So how are your states inside? How are you feeling inside? Now, meditation, like you said, it's a great point, because it can play a huge part in activating that inner stillness, in finding that common, like that grounding energy, and just staying in your center regardless of what's happening around you. So that is a tool to help you get into your inner stillness, and it's beautiful. And being in meditation actually syncs your brain from beta state to the alpha state. And the alpha state is where the magic happens, from you actually creating your dream reality to actually healing your bodily issues to thriving. The alpha state and the theta state is where you actually connect to magic and to higher powers. So it's a magical place to be. When you meditate, it's easier to find that inner stillness for sure. And the inner stillness reflects on the outside, and you find outer magic in response to that. So that's just beautiful. Yeah.
How do we sort of connect to our inner self then? How do we have that inner stillness? So obviously meditation is beautiful. Like, people know who've been listening to my podcast as well. It's something I've been doing just after Christmas time, and it has changed my life. I've never been so calm in my life. I've never been so relaxed in a way. So obviously that's one way to sort of connect to your body. What other methods would you say? Because one thing that comes to my head is journaling.
Journaling is a beautiful tool as well. And it all comes down to what you prefer as a person. Like, some people may prefer talking to a friend, others may prefer meditating, or some people just want to do it alone and sort of journal their emotions out on paper. So it's really up to you to sort of guide that process as to what resonates with you the most. So finding your inner stillness can be, I don't know, walking in nature. And again, like I said, they all link together. Or going out with a friend, like I said, and talking to them, or taking yourself out on a date, just doing something for your inner child, and I don't know, baking a cake, or
coloring, stuff like that.
Coloring, painting, really whatever floats your boat and whatever you feel like, resonates with you the most. And we're talking about tools here, but in general, if a person is always surrounded with toxicity, whether it was toxic friends, a toxic community, people or things and circumstances that are not ideal, perhaps they should focus on doing major shifts, like cutting out, I don't know, toxic friendships or relationships, or moving cities. Those are huge things we're talking about here. But it's about your priorities and the way your values are shaped, and actually, how do you want to live life? Because you're in control, and there's an illusion that, there's only one way to live life, and that, you have to do what society thinks is normal. But what resonates with you the most? What shifts do you need to see in your life to actually, come to the your desired reality, and the reality that resonates with you most, and the reality you're deserving of living. So, like I said, there are major things that you can do, whether that's like cutting out toxicity from the source. Those are things that are constantly causing a person to be messed up on the inside. And then if you're fine, you just want to sort of heal over time, like you don't have those root causes, or you don't have major things in your life, that's amazing. It's a good place to start. Then we can talk about meditation. We can talk about journaling. We can talk about all these things. And not to say that you can't do that in the midst of all these major root causes or whatever, but it's just a sort of tool, and you use those tools depending on what works for you and how to sort your way through it. Because sometimes meditation and journaling and those deep work can actually help you get out of those situations. So you use a mix and match of all of those to help you with your personal journey and whatever resonates with you. And that's a great way to find inner stillness. Speaking of meditation, there's this meditation specifically called the Silva Ultramind system. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, I haven't.
The Silva Ultramind system was designed by Jose Silva in somewhere in the 1900s. And today, Vishen Lakhiani, the founder of Mind Valley, is the face of the Silva Ultramind system.
Oh my goodness.
The Silva Ultramind system is a powerful tool. Jose Silva was initially a radio repairsman in Laredo, Texas. And he was fascinated when he was working in the army by the questions the psychologist would ask the soldiers. And so he got into psychology and he got into reading and whatnot. And as a technician or a mechanic, he said, linking to psychology, we could decrease the resistance in our mind the same way we could decrease the resistance in a wire, because when you decrease the resistance in a wire, more electricity flows. Yeah. So he was like, if we could do the same thing with the brain, what would happen? And he got into those studies, and he's done so many. We can get into an hour conversation, so I'm not going to go there. But in general, in a nutshell, the Silva Ultramind system allows you to access deep states of mind. It allows you to access your psychic abilities, which we all innately have. What if I told you I was trained to hold a book, put my hand over it, and I could sense what is in this book without reading the information on it? What would you say?
I'd say, oh my God. I'd say how?
The Silva Ultramind system was designed to get you, and I've talked about the different states of mind, the beta, alpha, theta, and delta. We're usually functioning at beta. Me and you are talking, our brains are awake, whatever. If we were to go into meditation or just, chill a bit, our brainwave state would go into alpha. And then if we were to take a nap, but we were sort of half awake, we were not sleeping yet, our brainwave state would go down to theta. And then if we fell into deep sleep and we don't remember what happens, we go into delta. And that means our, brainwave state is decreasing. More electricity is flowing. We get these creative insights. We get more intuition, essentially. We get connected to our intuition, and we have this sort of guidance system.
I see.
So this is a powerful, powerful tool that allows you to essentially bend reality. It essentially allows you to bend reality, get creative insights, allow you to thrive and flourish. It's great, and it heals the body internally. I will be releasing courses on that soon, or making programs, whatever. Something in the back of my mind. It's not
that's
official,
amazing. That's amazing.
But I believe it's something that changed my life, and so you could look, like whoever is listening, right? They could look into the Silva Ultramind system, and they could access it on the Mind Valley platform if they would like to.
I'll link it.
Dive into it, and I'm also going to link it in my bio very, very soon if they want to join the Mind Valley world, the world of self-development. It's the #1 leading self-development platform in the world, and it's soon going to be competing with Harvard as to the education it provides.
Wow.
It's powerful stuff. And so I will be linking the link to join the programs or the platform in my bio. So whoever would like to join,
I'll link it.
I'll send you the link as well.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Deepak Chopra, he said a quote about, we are no longer human beings, we are human doings. So exactly what you said. It's about just being, not thinking, not worrying,
And I think that's where you become in the most state of receiving. That's where you receive the most magic and insight. I think so many people try and overcomplicate life, and they think they have to do something and they have to figure out all these things, when in reality you're here to experience it. Just experience it in all that it is. It's not a puzzle to be solved, it's a reality to be experienced.
Wow.
And that's something to remember. So
living with the present, all that stuff, living in the present. Last one is your favorite one, right?
Yes.
7th one. We got that.
Absolutely one of my favorite. Finally, seriously, yes. So this is one of my favorites, and it is deep connection. Now, to say the least, you could be doing 6 a.m. runs, eating your vitamins and supplements. You could be waking up early, sleeping early, getting your adequate amount of sleep. You could be meditating, you could be journaling, you could be eating your greens, doing everything you need to be doing in terms of being healthy. But if you don't have at least 3 to 4 people in your life that you can connect with at a soul level, that you care about and that cares about you, that you know that you guys are there for each other no matter what, and that you're actually sort of interacting frequently in your life, and we're not alone, like a person is not alone and secluded, they have a much shorter lifespan. They have increased severe risk of diseases and chronic illnesses and risk of everything that, is potentially unhealthy. And one of the most powerful stories I've heard that links to this is of an Italian family that migrated to America, or they've migrated. Yes, it was like a small Italian family, and they've migrated, and essentially they were a very powerful community. They were there for one another. They were always together, partying, enjoying life. And they're Italians, right? They were eating pizza, like pasta, pastries, all these things that are essentially unhealthy, wine, right? Alcohol. So they were doing everything, and they were like staying up at night to like party and enjoy their life. And so essentially they were doing everything that was considered unhealthy. However, somehow a study was done like with this family that showed that they were living longer than others, and they were like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Why are you still here? So they made like a test with their heart and whatever, and they found that they had the strongest heart in the country. So then they were like, oh my God, maybe it's the Italian blood, right? Maybe it's Italian genetics. So they brought other Italians into the experiment, and they found that it was not the same. Eventually, they reached the conclusion that it was their deep connection and their deep sense of purpose, power, and community that had them living. I'm getting goosebumps. That had them living for so long, that had them flourishing and thriving in every aspect. And they were not the most fit people. They had like tummies, and they were all like chubby and cute, right? But they lived long. Their heart was powerful. Their health was thriving because of that sense of community. It is the most powerful thing you can have, deep connection with one another. If we were supposed to live alone, we would have been created each on a different earth. We were meant to form community. We were meant to get to know one another and to support one another. We were meant to fall in love and get married and have children and form a family, and then form friendships with different families. We were meant to be a tribe. In history, it proves that time and time again. And that is the most powerful aspect of health. And I think this is one of the most powerful ways to conclude this, that no matter what you do, no matter what you listen to in this episode, or in any other source of information you listen to about health, if you don't know how to cultivate deep connections, that is the foundation of health. And you're just basically wasting everything else you've learned. Because at the heart of everything, we are connected, and that is what matters most.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is,
That was
I'm
my
so glad
favorite
we ended on
book.
that one. I'm so glad we ended on that one.
Yes.
So the
Absolutely.
seven, nutrient richness,
Mhm.
frequent movement, sound
Mhm.
sleep, inner
Yeah.
stillness, deep connection, and syncing with nature, and sense of purpose. If you have these 7, you're saying that you have peak health.
That is the ultimate definition of health.
Wow. A lot of the time on my episodes, I talk a lot about the power of the mind as well. And you told a story about a girl called Maya.
Yes. Right. So there was this girl called Maya, and when she was little, she would basically she had issues and diseases a lot, and she would frequently get sick. And in result of that, her family and friends were always supporting her, were always around her. And for some reason, the mind developed, or she developed, this belief that she had to be sick in order for her to receive love. And what the mind did was it responded to that belief, and it constantly had her sick so that she could gain love, which just reflects the reality of so many of us today, because how many of our beliefs are actually shaping our reality? Because in relation to that story, there was this guy called Carlos as well, and Carlos believed that no matter how much he went on diets, or no matter how much he tried to lose weight, he would forever stay obese. And so in response to that, every time he did go on a diet, there would be that sense of resistance, and like, why am I doing this anyways? And so the mind responded, and it's like, yep, you're obese, you're going to stay like that forever. Until a person defines those beliefs in their own life and in their own reality and resolves them, they would constantly be in a state of a negative loop. And so if you're listening to this podcast right now and you're like, there are things in my life that I'm constantly, revisiting and going through, it's not because you're cursed or anything like that. It might be because of an unresolved belief that you have due to an event you had in your life or some kind of experience. And it would be very valuable if you go into depth in that and you sort of try and resolve that and figure out, what is the root cause of that.
So again, that basically sums everything up, where it's like, go to the root cause And work on
Always
those
wait.
7 and you will
Always
be
wait.
good. You will be good.
You will be good. Heal inflammation. Inflammation is the major source. Yes.
And then you'll thrive rather than survive.
You'll
Oh my
thrive. Honor your
goodness.
body. Listen to what it's telling you. It's never, doing anything by accident. Listen to it. Listen to your emotions. Just stay in touch with your body. It tells you more than you think it does.
Thank you so much for your time, Sarah. Seriously.
Absolutely. And it's an absolute pleasure being here. So excited to be here and so grateful that I've met you and that I've been here. And I'm very excited to see, the beautiful ripples that result from this episode and result from this conversation and this beautiful energy, and sending love and light to all the people listening to this podcast and actually taking the time to develop themselves, taking the time to, dig deep and learn. It is an actual blessing. It is an honor. You should keep doing that. Developing yourself and listening to yourself is doing more for the world than you think it is. So keep going. And it's beautiful to be here. Once again, I'm so grateful. And thank you so much for your time as well.
No worries at all. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so, so, so grateful. I feel amazing. You've made me cry like 20,000 times.
My goodness, I'm happy there were tears of joy, nothing else.
No, of course. Thank you so much. I will link everything that we've mentioned. I will link all of your social media. What you are doing is beautiful. You can tell how genuine you are. You have a huge heart. And I just want to say thank you again, not only for your time, but for the work you're doing. You're making a huge difference. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming onto my podcast.
Of course. This means a lot. And this is so beautiful. I don't think words can express the love that's happening right now.
Me too. I feel like
you are love and light. It's so beautiful.
Sweet.
Your energy is amazing. And thank you as well for everything you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Your energy is beautiful. I'm so happy. And we will meet up. You're right. I was just like, oh my God, it's a shame that we're far away. No, there's planes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Look at me making excuses. No. Of course, we'll meet. Yes, thank you so much.
Do you have Telegram or something?
I do. I only follow like 2 people on there. Do you have like a group chat?
I don't have a group chat actually.
Okay. You should do that with your followers. Do that one day.
I
Oh my God, I was going to are you writing an ebook? You should write an ebook or something. Like, I know you said you're doing your courses.
I should. I just don't know where to start,
I mean, you could potentially go into the 7. That could be a good place to start, like the 7 things about health, and then write everything, all your research. That'd be a good one.
Then I can make it. Yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Oh, for
God willing. And should I give you my number? Should I?
Yes, please. Oh my God. Okay, I'll stop recording now. We would